The best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program, everybody. I'll say that the All-Star game in baseball is actually pretty freaking intriguing. It's a long list of really, really good players on both sides from both leagues. And you go, yeah, you know what? Maybe baseball's in better shape than I thought.
I think baseball's in great shape. I think there are great players. I think, you know what's missing, though?
The fan?
Who's the transcendent baseball player that is a pop culture icon at the same time?
I mean, Shohei Ohtani is as big of a name as we've seen in the game in a long time.
He's one of the best players all time. Is he a big name?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Does he move the needle with casuals? That's what I'm asking.
I just don't know if baseball does it all. That's why they're having the TV
Who's the
problem,
Michael
right?
Jordan? Who's the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when you're paying guys like Juan Soto,
who's the Tom Brady?
$750 million.
Who's the guy that you
Yeah, you're right.
must see TV even when they're not playing baseball?
You know what's funny now is like if you want to be a major league pitcher of any kind of if you're worth your weight, and the crazy money they're paying, there's like 20 starters who throw 100 or more now. Like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when it was just Nolan Ryan?
Yeah.
And even then they were just guessing. I think he hit 100.
You'd have an occasional closer that could touch 100,
Right.
but that guy would fade out quickly because it's not normal to throw 100.
Right? Aroldis Chapman, you were like, that's the only one they have. And now it's like every other guy. And everybody's all mad because they added the kid from the Brewers, right? Mm-hmm. Last second. And they were like, why did they pick him? There were a bunch of other players like, yeah, but he throws 104.
And
like
people want to see that.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of young talent and people who are on the rise, our program, by the way, brought to you by G2G Bars, all natural ingredients, no preservatives, make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Let's talk a little bit of Jazz Summer League and folks who are tipping the scales in the way of doing themselves an awesome favor when it comes to their clubs and what they can do to prove themselves in Summer League. That's what we're doing. Let's jump in right here. It's the cut, top of the hour.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program. Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. It's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Joining us on the program right now, he's far from retirement. He's Eric Spyropoulos, Utah Jazz writer for NBA.com. Eric, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Thank you for those kind words that I'm not too close to retirement.
We get all these. I think it's because we hear all these 401k ads and stuff in the breaks and stuff, and we're kind of like, man, are they forcing us to think about this stuff earlier than I want to? My heavens. Speaking of young talent, speaking of guys who are definitely not near retirement, the Summer League providing for some interesting storylines. One of those is teams shutting down their guys. I know it's not necessarily a new thing, but it feels like we're talking about it more this year. Does that feel like that for you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't remember there being so many back-to-backs. Like, most teams are having back-to-backs in Summer League this year, including the Jazz had one on Sunday and Monday, which I don't remember happening that often in the past. But I think that goes into a lot of it of, obviously everyone wants to see these young matchups, and the league is trying to schedule certain games on ESPN depending on if there's two top 5 picks playing against each other. But, I mean, it's kind of hard for teams if they're, obviously they're going to prioritize the guys who they think are going to be on their team in the fall. And if there's a back-to-back and they might be sore with something, they're just not going to take the risk in July, instead of sometime in October. But I think it has to do with the back-to-backs that I don't remember happening as much in the past.
Yeah, I don't understand why they would do back-to-backs in Summer League, but whatever. One guy who's not sitting out, though, is Kyle Filipowski. What a summer he's having. You're following it closely. Just how good has he been this summer?
I mean, he's been amazing. I just wrote about it this morning on UtahJazz.com. I mean, he's averaging a little bit under 30 points per game in Vegas, close to 8 rebounds. And obviously the thing with Filipowski is that he can also pass. He's averaging a couple of assists per game. I think what's been most impressive is, he's talked about wanting to add strength and get better on the defensive end. And I think that part is still a work in progress. But I mean, he is shooting the ball well, 39% from three. He's scoring in the post, usually against like smaller guys, which is, what you're probably going to find in summer league, but it's good to see anyways. And he just looks really confident and aggressive out there. Not to say that he's going to have that type of role, in the fall with the main Jazz, but he's talked about basically wanting to use this summer league as kind of, what he wants to do next season. He said it starts in summer league, and I think all the signs are really positive so far.
What is it about his game that has gotten better? People, I think, look at him and they go, okay, 29.5 points a game that he's averaging in summer league. It's summer league, and so you have to take that with a grain of salt. But you do also have to acknowledge, like, when a guy is turning things around from the offensive side of things, we knew Flip could shoot, and we knew that he could create. But it's interesting to me, can he convert getting to the rim in summer league to getting to the rim during the regular season in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the biggest question that remains about his offensive game at the actual NBA level. Because like you said, we know he can shoot, we know he can pass and handle the ball a little bit. He has really good touch. I think he's shown some really good footwork in the post this summer. And again, even though it's summer league, you have to take it with a grain of salt, like you said. I think in the actual NBA, I think his post-ups are something you might go to, when a team is switching defensively and he's going to get a smaller guy on him. Or he's going to probably come off the bench most likely in the fall. And so you're looking at him maybe going up against, smaller front courts on teams' second units, which I think could be a weapon. I don't think, just pigeonholing him as someone who goes inside to score would benefit him or the team, because obviously the three-point shooting is a weapon. And then when he's not shooting the three, he can pass, from the three-point line and have guys, cutting around him. I think that's a really unique aspect of his game. But I do think there is something to not only what he's shown so far this summer, but just the skills that he has. And if he keeps adding strength, to that kind of post-game being another kind of secondary weapon for him on the offensive end.
We finally got to look at John Tonje, the rookie out of Wisconsin. And Tonje is an older player. We know the history of older players entering the league, but there's also the value of experience there. And he showed a lot last night, scoring 16 points in 23 minutes. What do you think they're going to do contract-wise with him, and can he find himself on the roster this fall?
I think in one way or another he'll be on the roster. I mean, it is unfortunate for him that he kind of had such a delayed debut and hasn't had these games, in Salt Lake Summer League and then also the first two in Vegas to kind of showcase himself. I mean, hopefully he can stay healthy and play in the final Summer League games that the Jazz will have this week. And obviously I think last night, like you mentioned, he really did impress. I think he was just kind of really under control. He wasn't kind of trying to do too much, didn't have a turnover. He obviously knocked down his threes, which is a huge part of his game. The interesting thing with him was he was so much stronger and just kind of physically more mature as an older player last year in college that he kind of basically got to the free throw line whenever he wanted. And I don't think he's going to have that advantage at the NBA level. And so therefore, I think there's just much more importance placed on his three-point shooting and his just ability to kind of fit into the flow of the offense. And, last night was a really good start for him. But I do think, him being able to kind of showcase himself a little bit more the rest of this week and kind of be around the team in the summer, that'll lend to him being on the roster in the fall in one way or another.
We do the overreaction thing, I think, in a lot of directions, right? Kyle Filipowski might not be ready for the All-Star weekend like we may be talking about it. And I think Isaiah Collier is also one of these guys that, they look at and they go, hey, we're supposed to see, kind of a next level from him. What have you seen out of Isaiah Collier that, people shouldn't necessarily be worried about when it comes to what the team was relying on him for last year? He had a tremendous rookie season. And then I think that Summer League people are looking at him and they're going, now, hold on a minute, you're supposed to get more out of him.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the thing with Collier that's interesting about it, Summer League is, and Scott Morrison, who was the Salt Lake City Summer League head coach, had talked about how, the team kind of went to him and was like telling him to use Summer League as a way to kind of focus on maybe creating for himself, scoring, finishing around the basket. And I do think that mindset has maybe trickled into his play a little bit. I mean, he still is leading Vegas in assists per game, so obviously the passing is still there. And even last night, he made a couple of passes in the fourth quarter that really, that stand out when you're watching the game. But like you said, the shot still hasn't been falling. He has been aggressive in taking, a little bit more of those jumpers and trying to create for himself in the mid-range, which I think, even though the shots aren't going in, is a welcome sign just to see that kind of aggression. But I do think, there is still room for growth for him offensively as a scorer. Not to say that he can't impact the game even if he doesn't become an elite three-point shooter. But, I mean, you're looking for him to take those shots more, which has happened. And the next step, obviously, is for those shots to go in. So the passing's still there. The quickness, I mean, him in transition is such a weapon for the Jazz. And so those two things you're kind of already banking on. And then from there, it's like, how can you build on that with a little bit more consistent scoring?
I think there was a lot of pressure on Cody Williams in Summer League as well after a disappointing rookie season, to be quite honest, that he would take a leap, that there would be improvement. What have you seen so far this summer that should give Jazz fans some optimism about him moving forward?
I mean, we just talked about the aggression with Collier, but I think that's even more important for Cody Williams, and it's been there. I mean, he is getting up more shots. He's looking for his own shot more. He seems more comfortable even just taking jumpers, whether it's off the dribble or off the catch. Again, the caveat again, same thing with Collier, that those shots have not really been going in. But I do think outside of that, he actually has been pretty impressive. I mean, that game he had on Sunday, where he had, I think, 21 points. I mean, he had a lot of good drives to the basket. He's made a couple of key defensive plays in Vegas using his length. So I do think if you're believing in Cody Williams, I think you've seen things that can give you some reason for optimism. Obviously, if you're doubting, I think there's also, those situations where you're questioning, can he hit jumpers at enough of a rate to stay on the floor? Can he score for himself? Where's, the consistency? But I do think underneath the kind of, shooting percentages that people might look at in the box score, I do think he has made an impact on these games in Vegas.
One of the things, Eric, that I'm interested in is, I was watching this Summer League game last night with my kids, and my son's like, "Where's Victor Wembanyama? I thought he got cleared." And I was like, "Well, it's not exactly how it works. All right, lay off. All right, if they're going to shut down some rookies,
why is Wemby avoiding Summer League? Come on, man."
No, but I was thinking, okay, he's cleared. He's ready to roll now. And let's say he starts game one and everything starts, he's cleared and he's just 100% health wise. What's the next kind of version of a full season from Wemby look like?
I mean, that's a great question. I think obviously, a full healthy version of Wembanyama, I think is a defensive player of the year comfortably. I think he probably might have had a good chance of winning the award last year if he hadn't, gotten hurt with the blood clot, even with the Spurs not being an elite team. But obviously, he barely played with De'Aaron Fox last year, which was obviously their huge midseason acquisition. So I do think you play with a guy like Fox will just make his life easier. And then obviously I think the other thing with Wemby is, he loves to take those threes, and that's a huge weapon for him. I mean, he attempted, I'm just looking at it now, he attempted 9 threes per game last year, which again, he shoots 35%. That's a big weapon for him, obviously. But, with Fox in the fold, I do think you wonder about how can he get more shots closer to the basket, whether that's pick and roll, posting up against smaller guys. I think that's kind of the next step for him. The shooting is there. Obviously, the defense is there. The ball handling, we've rarely ever seen from a guy his size. I think the question is, how many more shots does he get closer to the basket, and what does that do for San Antonio's offense overall?
What are the odds we see Ace Bailey back on the court again in Summer League in Vegas?
I think there's maybe a 50-50 chance. I mean, he was listed as questionable during the day on Monday and then was later ruled out, which was progress considering he had been ruled out straight away for the first 2 games of Summer League. I mean, the Jazz will play tomorrow night against Washington and potentially the 6th pick in the draft, Trey Johnson, and then they'll have one more game later in the week. So I do think, as maybe someone like Kyle Filipowski might sit at a certain point, maybe there's a chance, given how the injury progression has come, that Ace Bailey could make his Vegas debut.
Has your opinion changed at all, Eric, about kind of where teams stand during some of these offseason acquisitions and What does the East look like? Who's going to be the team to beat in the West? Is it as simple as to just say, well, Oklahoma City's really good, and yeah, but Houston did sign KD, and obviously that's going to be a pressing issue. Are the Lakers going to fall off this year? All these different questions. Where do the East and the West stand in terms of strength of conference right now?
I mean, I think the East is a fascinating situation. I mean, the Cavaliers, had a dominant regular season, but then were, pretty soundly eliminated in the second round. But then again, you look at Indiana, no Tyrese Halliburton next year. The Celtics are not going to have Jason Tatum. The Knicks are bringing back pretty much their entire team, plus adding a guy like, former Jazz Jordan Clarkson. But they also made a head coaching change, so that's an interesting wrinkle. Milwaukee, did the whole Miles Turner addition. How much does that change their team? And then you've got teams like the Pistons and the Magic and the Hawks, I think, who are probably trying to say, wait a minute, this conference might be wide open next year. And they took some big swings. Orlando added trading for Desmond Bane, the Hawks trading for Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, that conference, I think, is wide open, even with the Cavaliers having such a dominant season last year. The West is, it's going to be a bloodbath, I think. I mean, the Thunder are bringing back the same team that just, won the championship in almost 70 games in the regular season. The Rockets were the 2 seed last year and added Kevin Durant and Dorian Finney-Smith. The Lakers, might have a better season from Luka, although I don't think the supporting cast is good enough. I think the team in the West to really, watch out for is Denver. They pushed OKC to 7 games in the second round, and they turned basically Michael Porter Jr. and Dario Saric into Cam Johnson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown, and Jonas Valanciunas if he plays for them. They've got a deeper team. Jokic still has a claim to be the best player in the world. So I think when you're looking at the West and kind of maybe a little bit of a sleeper team, I think the Nuggets are a sleeper contender for the championship.
Last question I have for you. What are the odds Lauri Markkanen is in a Jazz uniform on opening night?
I think really, really high. I mean, I'd probably go like 90% at this point. It came out today on ESPN, had an article saying that the Jazz are not really looking to trade him right now, and especially it would seem like the offers aren't that high. So I think at this point, given, the Jazz did trade away the other vets on the team, I think that opens up the playing time for the young guys that the front office would like. But you need Lauri there to help those guys on the court and off the court. So I'd put it at a really high chance.
Good news for Jazz fans. There you go. Eric Spyropoulos, he covers the Utah Jazz. UtahJazz.com, part of the NBA.com family, and obviously Eric does a phenomenal job covering it. We're looking forward to the rest of how things shake out here before fall camp fires up, and then we'll get ourselves some preseason games, but we'll chat with you along the way here, Eric. Thanks for hanging out, man.
Thanks for having me.
There you go. Eric Spyropoulos, everybody. He does a great job. If you haven't read him before, it's really good stuff, and obviously he's pretty plugged into the team. Be able to get that kind of stuff. And, yeah, the NBA's funny, but the Jazz are less squirrely like that, when you talk about where Lauri Markkanen could end up before the season starts, or if anything could kind of crop up there. I just don't think it's going to happen.
You're left to wonder because they traded the other vets, but they seem really committed to him, especially financially.
Yep.
And it's not easy to move somebody with that kind of a contract, and you expect a lot back in return for someone that talented. So when you factor all that in, he's not as easy to move as the other guys, and I'm not sure that they want to. I think they figure that he might be a key part of whatever they are moving forward, as maybe that older veteran presence among a bunch of younger players. We will see. But as of right now, I don't think there's anything out there that would force them the need to trade Lauri Markkanen, or there's not an offer out there that would give them enough in return. You saw how little they got back for trading some of these veterans and also losing Jordan Clarkson in a contract buyout. They didn't get back on those guys what they thought they would maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, and I think that Lauri Markkanen, what was his all-star season? He was kind of like 26.5 points a game. Last year he was 19, or maybe it was like 19.5, but he also sat out a ton of games.
Everything was weird.
Everything was super weird, but that's my question is like at some point, You don't want to make a guy get out of sorts like that and just go, hey, stand by. We're going to pay you a ton of money, but be ready to play high-level basketball.
He's an all-star in his prime.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You can't just let him
you don't get that time back.
I know. And he's inside that prime age territory right now. So how much of a window you have with Lowry? And then how much of a window or when do the Jazz get into a contender window? I'm saying contender for the playoffs. I'm not saying like championship. I'm saying just get him back to the spot where they're.
He's never been in the playoffs in his career.
That's tough. At some point you go,
get me out of here.
there has
Misa.
Where is that from?
Happy Gilmore.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Remember the lady at the old folks home?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She jumps on the car. Get me out of here.
Yeah. She goes, get me out of here. It's very, very
That was a red flag.
Yeah, should have been.
It's always a red flag at an old folks home.
Hey, listen, do we call them old folks home anymore?
Did I offend anybody out there? I apologize.
I don't know.
What are we supposed to call them these days?
Retirement villages.
Okay, thank you.
I love the term village. It's like, all right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got our NFL Blitz around the corner you don't want to miss. We've got tons more to jam on. Man, I'm watching this MLB All-Star stuff as they're getting ready for this thing in Atlanta, and I'm high on the baseball All-Star game now. I'm going to watch that thing tonight, man. Let's see how it goes. All right? Let's take that break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, if you've got an awesome business or a product that you want us to be able to highlight on this very show, if you want JJ and I to endorse that product and get those things flying off the shelves or out of your shop online, or you get people coming in and checking it out, just text the letters JJ to 57500. Just text JJ to 57500, and our sales staff will get a hold of you, and we can partner together and make that business grow. Let's get it going. Just text JJ to 57500, and we'd love to promote your product or your business. Let's go. JJ, Sauce Gardner, the second Jet in the last couple of days to get a big old payday. Yesterday it was Garrett Wilson about this time of day. We were talking about this. Now Sauce Gardner gets a 4-year, $120 million extension, and he deserves it because he's one of those guys on this team that transcends the terribleness that is the New York Jets. He is definitely one of the best cornerbacks, if not the best corner in the entire league. How about $30 million a year for the best corner in the league, if that's what you are these days?
Well, it's worth it because you got to have a guy to go out and stop some of those big-time receivers, especially in that division. How are you going to knock off the Bills if you don't have somebody on defense that can get the job done? Now, I feel pretty confident if I'm the Jets and giving him that money because he's an exceptional talent. But the Jets now are having to pay a lot of these rookies that they drafted, and you wonder, financially where they're at with what they have to work with, because that's a franchise that's trying to take the next step and they haven't been to the playoffs. They have the longest playoff drought in the NFL and one of the longest playoff droughts in North American sports.
I was going to say, it's not just the NFL.
They're like with the Buffalo Sabres as the longest playoff droughts. I can't remember which one's longer, but they haven't been to the playoffs since Mark Sanchez and the butt fumble. Mark Sanchez was the last quarterback to start a playoff game for the New York Jets.
What a way to get there.
So that's where they're at. And so they do have talent now. They got some really good young talent, and they're locking that talent up. Now that talent has to produce at a really high level if they're going to turn that corner. And I'm skeptical that they're going to turn that corner. Why? Because of the Jets.
I don't know if there's a moment where these teams have to look around and go, you know what, I get it. The Jets, they can print money because they're in the NFL. And the tough thing about that for owners is that makes them think that they're actually competitive just because they get a big old check from the NFL every year. And they go, we're still good. People love us. People love us. And the reality is that the Jets could stand being transported to a totally different city, just picking it all up and setting it down in another city, and they probably would do well immediately. I think that being in New York sucks when you suck.
Their owner's not great either.
What's the guy's name? Johnson?
Woody Johnson.
Yeah.
Johnson & Johnson Fortune.
Bring in the second one. Maybe Woody Johnson's not doing a good job. Bring in the other Johnson. Let's go. Can't put a Band-Aid over that problem.
It's always-
Oil. Any more medical supplies jokes we can get to?
I don't have any today. Sorry. Moving on. I left those at home.
Trey Smith, by the way.
Medical supply jokes? Seriously.
Come on, man. I know you got some gauze humor in there somewhere. Oh, my goodness. The Chiefs and their interior offensive lineman, Trey Smith, have just agreed to a 4-year, $94 million deal. By the way, running backs must look at these and be like, please give me some money. The running backs are like looking at their all.
I want that.
4-year deal. What is that worth? $19 million? They're like, yeah, 94. Oh, jeez.
My goodness.
Holy cow. I'm a corner. What did they give you? 4 years? Must be $27 million. No, try 120. Try 120.
Good
So
for
there you
Trey
go.
Smith. That's a lot of money, but definitely worth it. Good player on that Chiefs team. Gotta have those linemen.
When you were growing up, when I was growing up, the Washington Commanders, obviously, they had success. You think about your Doug Williamses. You think about your Mark Rippons.
Joe Theismann.
Thiesman was even
Jay
on the list.
Schrader.
Yeah, listen, just anybody who was in that Joe Gibb, kind of.
Didn't
Joe
matter
Gibbs
who the
was
quarterback was. Plug and play.
They could do it.
They had the Hogs. They won in the trenches. Always had a good pass rusher.
When I was a kid, I wore the number 81 as a 7-year-old starting up in football for 2 reasons. For some reason, I thought Tim Brown was really cool, even though, don't quote me on that because I've always hated Notre Dame, but I liked Tim Brown when he won the Heisman Trophy back
he
in
was
the
a
day.
star in the 80s.
He was awesome. But Art Monk, and I was living in Dallas Cowboys country.
That did not go well.
But I wore 81 on my, I've got to bring it in, my little Grapevine Pee Wee football jersey. 81, Kirry on the back, and Art Monk was like, man, that guy's so good. And Art Monk is going to get that jersey retired. Congrats to him. He's one of the names that I always saw and always looked for on the field. And he was one of these guys that was playing for the Commanders, and so you didn't really necessarily pay that much attention to him. And I don't know if he won a Super Bowl with them.
Oh, yeah.
Or if he was part of any of those
He was on
two.
those teams, yes.
But I'm telling you, the reason that those guys were so good is because Art Monk was that guy was tough. That guy played, and he balled out, and Art Monk is going to get that jersey retired.
Now 67 years old. What took so long?
Yeah, I think that...
He's in the Hall of Fame. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler.
Listen, a lot of things...
3-time Super Bowl champ.
I think a lot of things are getting rectified with new ownership in town.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Talking about the Jets, I hammered the Jets. That Washington franchise for 2 decades was embarrassing because of their owner.
Yeah, but think about it. They won a Super Bowl so much more recently than the Jets have even sniffed being relevant at all. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the ownership of the
That
Commanders
was back in 1991.
I know, that's 30-something years ago now. Sheesh. All right. Next up. Let me see here. Oh, my goodness. Fans and haters are buying Aaron Rodgers t-shirts to burn. Is that a legit thing?
Why? Why do we hate?
I'm just buying a shirt so I can burn it. Look, I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but settle down, dude. First of all, guess who gets paid out when you buy a freaking t-shirt with his name on it? Aaron Rodgers. Burn that. He's like, if I'm him, I'd go, yeah, man, shoot. I hate when people burn my jersey.
Was this in downtown Portland?
I'm trying to think of who.
They don't even know he played football. They just saw him on Joe Rogan.
Hate him. I'm going to burn it. But again, you're paying that guy once you burn that shirt.
That's weird. Help me understand. Look, Aaron Rodgers, he's polarizing. He has opinions. He's kind of aloof at this point and kind of delusional about where he's at right now. But why do you hate Aaron Rodgers?
Burn Deshaun Watson's jersey. I get it. All right?
Yes. Dudes that have committed crimes, go ahead. What did Aaron Rodgers do to you?
I mean, he's a dirtbag, but not in the dirtbag sense that we look at sports now and go, "Oh yeah, that guy's a dirtbag."
Not a criminal dirtbag
that we know of. All right. Let me see here. Last and certainly not least, John Elway has been officially cleared from the golf cart accident that killed his agent and longtime friend. Oof. One of the weirdest stories that we've ever heard. Were they at Coachella? Is that where they were? Or what? No, what was the country version of Coachella? What was that called? It was at that massive concert out there. I can't remember what it was called, but either way, they were riding a golf cart back. Stagecoach. They were at Stagecoach.
Wow.
And which is in I think it's in Palm Springs. Mm-hmm. But like I don't think there's a lot of good that comes out of this conversation if you dive into it even more. I'm not sure what the circumstances totally were, but they say that John Elway was behind the wheel. But here's the other thing.
They had video of it.
They did?
Yeah.
Not enough evidence to have any sort of criminal charges.
The guy just fell off the back of the cart and somehow was killed in it. It's just such a tragic story.
It is. I have a very close family member. This happened to their mom. Fell out of a golf cart on a fluke.
You hit your head on concrete or pavement?
It's not.
It doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much. You're right. All right, we're going to take a break here. We'll come back. We've got our best and worst next. You don't want to miss it. We've got tons to jump into and carve up before we get out to the top of the hour. So stay here. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us. Jeremiah Jensen, Alex Kirry. Best and worst on the program brought to you by the good folks at the Doug Smith family of dealerships. Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Kia, Subaru, and now Mitsubishi. In American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Nobody knows cars like Doug. JJ, the best is... Well, I've got some audio here for you. You know what it is? It's finally, one of my teams has a guy who gets some respect around town. The very first catcher in the history of the league to win the home run contest. Here's what it sounded like.
Low line drive to left that skips to the wall. It is over, and Cal Raleigh is your 2025 T-Mobile Home Run Derby champion. The Major League home run leader, and Raleigh, who just squeaked in.
I love how he just squeaked in. He just squeaked in to get to that, to get out of the first round, and they did it with the tie. The tiebreaker was the distance, which he actually had by less than an inch.
Wow.
In the first round. Just crazy that they can even. Did you see the numbers too? It was like 430.384961248.
How do they measure
feet.
that?
I don't know, but I mean, obviously we have the technology. We can't tell balls and strikes though.
They got something in balls? What's going on?
I don't know how they do it. It really is. It's crazy to me.
Well, the year of Big Dumper continues.
Yeah,
what a season.
That nickname is not going to get him. It's not going to get him places.
So last night I did the highlights of the Home Run Derby.
Did you call him
and
wrong name?
I referenced his
something?
nickname. No. I didn't do that. Could have got worse. But I mentioned his nickname over the air, and
oh boy,
the people in our control room had no idea
that was his nickname.
They thought it was. They didn't. What does that mean?
I thought
and they were laughing. They were rolling on the floor, and then I go into the control room afterwards, and they say, "Big Dumper."
You called the guy Big Dumper.
What is that? What does that mean?
You're like, that's a real thing.
And I said, he's got a big butt. And they're like, ah!
We've all turned into 9-year-olds. I love it.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's a great nickname.
It is. Well, it's something. It's a thing. But we were just talking about this. You know, they give the winner of the Home Run Derby contest, the Home Run Derby the winner gets $1 million.
Dr. Evil will be impressed.
I know. No, but $1 million is.
That's a lot.
First of all,
one night.
First of all, if you're Cal Raleigh, you better give that all to Dad, right? He was your pitcher.
Yeah.
Although he did hit him, he did bean him. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Cal Raleigh
Oops.
Sr. got him in the elbow.
How cool is that his dad got to pitch to him?
Way cool. And he's out there standing there holding the trophy and everything.
Yeah.
Give Pops at least $500,000.
Remember when Bryce Harper had his dad help him?
Yeah.
was
See,
cool.
I love that kind of stuff. Now, the winner gets $1 million. The runner-up gets $500,000. I was like, well, yeah, but they do this. That's how you get guys to participate in things, right? The guy who's leading the major leagues in home runs and then he participates in the home run derby. Imagine that. We never get the person who's like the, marquee grabbing name to be in the dunk contest anymore, right? The old days of Jordan, and we talk about this all the time, but it's an old, argument to have, but the old days of Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins, when those two guys were the best dunkers by far in the whole league, and by the way, they were the biggest names in dunking in the league.
And they were superstars on
Right.
the court. It was must-see TV.
But now we incentivize, right? And so I thought, well, they obviously, and I think the winner in the dunk contest gets $1 million too. JJ looked it up. It's $100,000
Yeah.
to win the dunk contest. Hey, Major League Baseball, the dunk contest is always a thing to watch, but you know what? When Mac McClung is in it and we sign him to a 10-day contract to win it the next 3 years in a row, we kind of missed the point. And $1 million, I know we kind of go, that's funny how people, would poo-poo $1 million. I don't think they would. $100,000 is not good enough in the NBA. You can't get $1 million for the dunk contest? Of course you can.
We're almost at the point where some guys are making, Devin Booker's going to make almost $1 million per game next season.
He'll probably play in 74 games, and that means he will get $1 million a game.
He doesn't care about $100,000, so you're not going to incentivize. You got to step it up, NBA, because we want to see a slam dunk contest for the ages.
But who do you want to see in the dunk contest? Anthony Edwards.
Yeah,
Would he do it for $1 million?
I think you got to get to 7 figures to get those guys to even
Okay.
think about it.
What would be great is $1 million, and then you start getting names in the hat, and Nikola Jokic goes, I want to be part of the dunk contest. Big dumper right there. That's the NBA's big
Yeah,
dumper.
He is.
Hey, let me put out cigarette and I'll dunk. Hold the phone, please. Like, that's not even a Serbian accent, but it's Eastern Bloc enough. Just give me some credit, all right? I dunk basketball for you.
Only for $1 million.
Hold on. Get off horse, dunk. I'll do it. $1 million.
Come with it now.
Okay, I will. And the worst of the day is your Tampa Bay Rays, JJ, are going to be hosting games. They've been approved if they do make the playoffs. I don't know how the AL East looks right now. I don't know where the Rays are on that.
They're in the
race,
mix.
But they're always like a pretty darn decent baseball
Yeah.
team for having such awful pub about them. They're going to be playing, of
They're
course.
1.5 games out of the wild card spot
So-
behind your Mariners.
I know. So the hurricane messed up the Trop, and so now they're playing at Steinbrenner Field, which holds about 10,000 fans.
That's it.
And they got approval that if they're going to host the playoffs, they can have 10,000 fans at the playoff games. Yay.
Oh, my gosh.
It's going to look weird on
So
TV.
MLB loses ESPN, and now they might possibly have a wild card game in front of less than 10,000 fans because they're not going to sell out.
That's like the Coyotes down in Arizona going, can we host the Stanley Cup final down here? They're all, this place seats 4,200 people.
Yeah, we're going to move that to L.A. Thanks. Sorry, Arizona.
Even better, moving it to Salt Lake.
Good thing they never sniffed the
Permanently.
playoffs
Sorry.
while they were playing in that
All right.
college rink.
We'll take the break here. We'll come back. More to go around the corner. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.